All right, peeps, on today's episode of The Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be talking with Bruce Lee author Steve Kerridge. Lots of gems, a little bit of Andrew Tate, and in the wise words of the Buddha, if you're going to buy a book on Bruce Lee, read the words. Let's get to it.
And every day, I practice martial arts. Watch out!
All right, Steve, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good. It's great to see you again. This is our second interview, so I think now it's basically just you and John Little are the only people who've been on the channel twice as an interview. So great to see you again. So from what I understand, you're working on a new book project. Is this true?
Well, yeah, we've got with Darren Chiu. We're doing been working on it for quite a while. The Way of the Dragon book. I know I previously did. Various books on Way of the Dragon, or one particular really on Way of the Dragon. But since we did the Mandarin Superstar and Intercepting Fist, it only seemed right to carry on in the same format, which is a lot more comprehensive and detailed, because of Darren now bringing on the Chinese media archive and so forth as well, and so it adds a lot more depth to the story, to the timeline. I say Way of the Dragon, I mean it's the timeline of that period,
So yeah, it's interesting. You have the book on Big Boss, you have the book on Fists of Fury. So yeah, it makes sense that this book would come out. Have you found out anything interesting about Way of the Dragon that you didn't know from doing this book?
Oh, blimey, good question. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably about 20% into it, so I've got a long way to go yet. I mean,
wow.
Obviously there'd be a lot of the same bits and pieces that was in the previous book because that's history.
Yes.
But when, for example, we've done quite a good section on the audition.
Oh, in the audition, what for the other actors in Way of the Dragon?
Well, for the leading female lead.
Oh, I didn't realize that was like a big audition. I figured Nora was kind of in the bag. So what was that about?
Well, basically, I mean, originally I think Bruce wanted Nora, but then due to the conflict with Lo Wei, he already penciled her in for another movie.
Mm.
And obviously, I think Bruce was too happy about it, and so they decided to try and do some auditions to find an alternate actress, which went from local models. There's one particular model. I won't name anything now because I don't want to sort of spoil it. But there's one lady who. We interviewed quite extensively. She was a newspaper reporter as well, but she also done modelling, and you see her in some of the photographs. And she was. It was quite funny actually because when we first approached her, I showed her the photographs, and she went, "Oh, I don't remember that."
Wow.
I'm thinking, what, you don't remember doing an audition with Bruce Lee, though? She went, oh. And gradually. I mean, don't forget these people are not young no more,
Yes.
So, but she, it turns out she had actually interviewed Bruce a few times through the newspaper, and I actually she put me in touch with her editor, or former editor, and he knew more of the story than what she did, really,
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting to have done an audition and to have interviewed Bruce Lee and then basically to have not much recollection about it all those years later. Yeah, I think if we bumped into Bruce Lee, we'd remember it.
You think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But the thing is, which is one of the methods I've always tried to use when I can, if you can show someone a photograph, it's very like, oh, yeah. Suddenly the memory comes back,
Sure.
Which we're, the same for all of us, isn't it? So
right.
So when I showed her several photographs, actually blah blah blah, and she started remembering things, and she didn't remember much about it at first, but as we was progressing with her, she was starting to open up, unless she was a little bit sort of reserved. I don't know. You never know with these people.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Wow, that's interesting. The whole Nora and Lo Wei connection in there. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Adding more fuel to the kind of acrimonious relationship between Bruce Lee and Lo Wei, and Lo Wei was quite famous for his ironclad contracts that people couldn't get out of. Even Jackie Chan had to enlist the help of Jimmy Wang Yu to get out of his famous Lo Wei contract. So yeah,
exactly, yeah.
incredible. Yeah, but I had always assumed that Nora was kind of a shoe-in for that role. I didn't realize that there was some.
No. I mean, originally, I'm not sure if you know. Anyway, you probably do. Originally Bruce wanted to do the Green Bamboo Warrior.
Okay, which the Green Bamboo Warrior? Actually, I don't know. I mean, I've read a little bit about it, but maybe you can refresh the audience a little bit about what that's.
Basically, it was a period costume, martial art epic. I suppose that's what he wanted anyway. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you can only assume a lot of stuff, and you can only look at the evidence and think, why did they do this? Why did they do that? Right. And a lot of people have gone now, so you can't question. We can't interview them. But you have to look at the evidence, and like we always try and sort of, I suppose the word triangulate as much as we can on anything. We can't always do that, but so sometimes you have to put an opinion in a book, but not necessarily. There is partly guesswork with anything you're doing like that in history.
Absolutely. It's all probabilities. Yeah,
of course. But if you look at the whole scenario where he's finished Fist of Fury, they're formed Concords. And Bruce has got the Kung Fu TV series on the back burner, and without going into that, that fell by the wayside. Warner Brothers already had Bruce on a $25,000 retainer. I don't know if you know that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, guess. But you think really they've got Paramount sniffing down his throat, or trying to sort of like entice him into various projects after Longstreet, such as Tiger Force and whatnot, So I guess Warners are thinking, hang on a minute, let's get him signed up. Let's give him a retainer. At least we've got him. Right. So that's his retainer, but the Kung Fu, as you know, fell through for him. And so now you've got Concord being formed. Now Bruce wants to do this Green Bamboo Warrior. But I think reality must have hit, because when you think about it, the money to put on a period or to produce a period costume drama, is not cheap.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have a big cast, because you have all the costumes and the sets and everything. Yeah.
Plus, they've got to compete with the best Shaw Brothers at that.
Right, with their big studio, and they're already set up for all that.
They're masters of the period costume. I mean, you look at. They're the main ones, aren't they? So, really, I suppose he must have thought to himself. Well, he had to meet with Warner Brothers anyway in February '72. So he's gone there, and basically what he's done is tried to entice him into doing like a co-production. I'm guessing, the thought of mind was that, if Warner's can put 50% into this or more. As a like they eventually did really invent the Dragon, but
right.
If they could do that, then they could probably afford to do the period costume drama. But Warners weren't really going for that at the moment, So that sort of fell through. In the meantime, obviously Bruce was offered the yellow-faced tiger, which became a man called Tiger,
right?
And from there, really, I mean, he didn't really want to do that, obviously, as we know now. Right. He was already putting a quicker or another script together, but it's probably more affordable. So when you look at it, I suppose the idea for Europe came up.
Yeah, and it's such a great idea because at that time, very few Hong Kong productions even thought to shoot stuff internationally, and then
there was none. I don't think it was any. I think that was one of the first ones.
Yeah, I think so too. And but he was very smart with it because they obviously they went there, just shot some exteriors without any permits, and then shot the rest in Hong Kong.
They hadn't made up their mind whether it was going to be London, Paris, Amsterdam, or Rome.
Right. But it ends up being so great. I mean, obviously, you can tell now, especially with all the information we have, what's shot at Golden Harvest, what's an exterior. But, for that film at that time, I mean, that was a huge difference from all the other stuff that they were producing. Now, there are a bunch of people on the, Bruce Lee fans. Obviously, very few people, I think, consider Big Boss Bruce Lee's masterpiece. It was his first movie. Enter the Dragon is also it's kind of its own thing. So it's usually, when people want to talk about Bruce's best films, it's usually between Fist of Fury and Way the Dragon. That's where most people tend to you're either like Team Fist of Fury or Team Way the Dragon. So of those two movies, which one is your favorite?
Do you know what? I haven't really got a favorite.
Uh-huh.
I haven't really got a favourite. I mean, I think they're all good in their own way. It's
so great for you to hear that, because I actually hate those questions about what your favorite is. But it just seems like everything's so polarized. Everyone, I did a podcast once, and it was like me and a panel of people. And we were voting which one was better, Fist of Fury or Way of the Dragon, right? So, but like for me, it's almost like you're sometimes you're in the mood to watch this one, sometimes you're in the mood to watch that one. They have
it's a bit like someone asking you, what's your favourite kid? Have all your children, what's your favourite?
I have 2 kids. I have a favorite. Just kidding. I definitely have a favorite podcast co-host, but I'm not going to say which one that is. So what if you could transport back in time for a front row seat into the life and legacy of one of the most respected Wing Chun masters in history? Gong Sao Wong, a tribute direct students on Sifu Wong Sau Leung, offers you just that. Through a series of exclusive conversations, 25 direct students share anecdotes, reflections, and personal stories offering in-depth understanding of the man behind the legend. Order your copy today across 12 Amazon marketplaces with free shipping. I absolutely love this book, and I think you'll find it an indispensable part of your collection. I can't recommend it enough. Get yours today. Go to Amazon, type in Gong Sao Wong, and there you go.
But I mean, the interesting thing is as well, we've like me and Darren, we've gone into the whys, wheres, and whats of how and why they went to Rome, who backed them, who supported them. But there's a lot. I'm not going to go right into it now because I don't want to sort of I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah, of course.
Just in some interesting stuff, and we also got to interview one of the goal. I'm not even going to say. I'm really got to be careful here because
it's like a new Avengers movie coming out. You got to watch out for any spoilers, right?
Yeah, because the next thing someone listens to this and they find that particular person, they do an interview in a magazine, and the next thing,
right?
So all I'm going to say is we interviewed someone who was on the team, the Golden Harvest crew that was there, and that's probably giving too much away, really. But it came up with some funny stories. I mean, I'll give you one story.
All right.
Chuck Norris, actually. Chuck Norris. I mean, there's a couple of really funny stories actually when they was filming at the airport. But there's a Chuck Norris one where they're filming at the Coliseum, which they did for over a couple of days, and they filmed at the Coliseum, and Chuck Norris, they've done whatever they've done, and Chuck Norris now is busting for a piss.
Uh-huh.
Can I say that? No. Can I say that? Busting for a piss?
You can say whatever you want. It's we're all about that kind of language here.
Right. So you got him. You got Bob Wall, who's obviously just there as wasn't even supposed to be there until he turns up and Bruce goes, "What the fuck's he doing here?"
Right. I was gonna ask you about that, whether that story was actually true, that Bob Wall kind of basically invited himself.
100%.
Wow.
Chaplain Chang told me that himself.
Wow.
And anyway, so you got Bob and Chuck at the Coliseum. You've seen the photographs where they're both in the shot.
Yes.
Obviously,
yes.
Bob wasn't in the scene there, but they're busting for a piss. So. Can you hold on a minute? We're going to go and find a toilet.
Yeah.
They've gone. They've 30, 40 minutes later, they're still not returned. So now they're thinking, shit, we've got to get some long shots here. So according to who we interviewed, he said that Chaplin, actually, I could not, obviously Chaplin's passed away now, because I'd like to find out if his memory was correct, this fella. He said Chaplin stood in for some of the long distance shots. I don't know whether that, so I'm only going, you can only write what they tell you. And they were there. So anyway, eventually Chuck and Bob returned. And basically what had happened, they couldn't find a toilet nowhere. So eventually found a big tree to have a piss around, piss up. And then some wild dogs started attacking them.
Oh, jeez. This
And,
is like going from bad to worse.
Yeah, so now they're trying to get away from these dogs snarling, growling, and barking, and while they've got their
karate gis on, right?
Well, I was going to say got their bits out. I was going to say. So now they, so hence the delay of them getting back.
Wow. And
there's loads of little funny stories like that, and there's with Melissa Longo, and he recalls the filming there and what they did. It's some interesting stuff, and it'll be a very good book. I'm not just doing it just to try to sell it. It will be.
I'm sure all your books are great. I was just thinking for a moment there. They had to do all that work. Bob Wall and Chuck had to, fight off dogs while taking a piss just for basically that one zoom in shot from across the Coliseum. It's like that was basically all they got from all of that hard work.
I'm not sure what the shot that Chaplin should have been stepping in for, because obviously you see a zoom with Chuck in the distance, but you still see it's Chuck. But it might have been something where he's, you see him go across the Coliseum somewhere. I'll have to re-watch it.
Right.
Interesting. Unless his memory had faded, but I doubt it very much. He was pretty good with his memory. He was pretty good. He remembered. I'm not being funny. He remembered some stories at the airport. Where they're all around. With the kid with the ice cream and whatever, and they're all Bruce out for the restaurant. He said, and they're all sort of like getting ready to take the shot, and one of the Italian extras, farted, and obviously everyone burst into laughter, and and it was like it was just funny, like
right,
there's loads of little funny stories like. Like human stories, you know what I mean? Nothing like a Superman stories, but just basic.
Yeah, but I like those stories because those are stories I think everyday people can relate to. Bruce Lee being able to do push-ups on 2 of his fingers is not the most relatable fact about Bruce Lee, but laughing at a fart is universal.
Yeah, exactly. So so with loads of little anecdotes like that, really, for the book. But that's what I'm not sure when. I've been working on other projects. I'm doing the fanzine, as you know.
Right.
Which, just to let you know, it was a bi-monthly. I've just changed it just to a fanzine now, because my fault, really. I mean, originally I thought myself, bi-monthly, but it's such
it's a lot of work.
It's fitting it in with me everyday work anyway.
Sure.
It ties me up too much to do like projects like the Way book and whatever.
Yeah.
And I could do it, but it'd just be full of shit.
Right.
Be honest.
It's crazy.
Let's put some fillers in. Let's interview someone about, the first time I see Enter the Dragon. Let's do it. All this bullshit that you see in a lot of magazines, and you think,
yeah.
Who's really interested in that? This interview of the skateboarder that got influenced by Bruce Lee because his mum, blah, 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 blah. You think, who's interested in that?
Yeah, a rapper no one has ever heard about who's been influenced by Bruce Lee. It reminds me of that I Am Bruce Lee documentary a few years back. They had,
Don't get me wrong. I mean, we've done a few where it's nice if you've got a good celebrity or someone that's been influenced. We did one of the, which issue it was now, one of the UFC Bellator fighters. Now that okay, I can live with, because I think to myself, that man's gone there. He's fought at the top level,
right?
And his driving force was Bruce Lee from a kid. So, it's great to see things like that. But when it comes to, I don't know, I keep saying a skateboarder or whatever it is, you think, well, it's not a martial art. It's not a fighting art. To me, it's not.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. It's just my.
No, opinion. I don't think you're wrong. as a Bruce Lee fan, whenever I'm forced to listen to like some hip hop artists tell me, "Oh, I was inspired by Bruce Lee's choreography to improve my hip hop," I just wonder why I'm supposed to care.
Exactly. Listen, I can understand it if it was like Elvis Presley, and he was still alive, and he said, "Oh Bruce was my influence."
My influence for my kicks.
You think to yourself, well, okay, it's Elvis Presley talking, or Paul McCartney, or I don't know, whoever. But someone who's a top level A-list celebrity, you can go, like if Arnold came out and said, I won't try and do it as a accent, but if Arnold come out and said, Bruce Lee was my influence in blah, 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 it'd be worth doing an interview with him, because
absolutely
it's Arnold,
Yeah, absolutely.
Although he's not a martial artist, he's an icon in that action cinema,
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if you've seen it, but Netflix has a new 3-part documentary on Arnold.
Yeah, I've not watched it. Is it good? Have you seen
It's
it?
I watched the first 2 parts last night. It's amazing. Yeah.
Oh,
But I'm a huge Arnold nerd. I even went to
Yeah.
the house that he grew up in South Austria and went to the museum and stuff. So yeah, I'm that level of a Arnold nerd.
The funny thing, when I was a kid, I started karate in Stratford in East London, and the actual dojo, it was inside a bodybuilding gym.
Wow.
It was called Bill Stevens Gym, and it was like the fella that ran it. It was like an ex bodybuilding champion, and you literally, just to give you, actually, when I interviewed Bob Wall years ago, funny enough, he'd actually been there when he came to London. In around about
Bob Wall?
Yeah, when he was about in 1968, 69, he came to London.
Huh.
And he done karate, and he told me where it was. I said, that's where I was to go. Anyway,
Oh, wow.
I've gone off on the thing there. But you used to go into the entrance, and it was like a staircase. And you go up to the top of the stairs, and you'd walk through, and you'd have like the canteen reception area and the bodybuilding area. But if you did a left, it went up a bit of a slope, and it was like an old converted cinema. So it was massive. And you go in there as a dojo, a big giant Japanese flag and all the bamboo and the makiwaras down the wall and the mirrors and the mats and big rising sun paint on the floor and whatever. Proper 1970s. I mean, back then they was earning a fortune, and they was getting like 3 classes a night at 50 in a class. Like
sure,
non-stop. And I think they all bought their houses out of it. I was told, which good luck to it at the time. But anyway. Going back to the Arnold thing, the reason I said that because when you used to walk into the bodybuilding part, in the reception area, I always remember this as a kid, because I started when I was 10 years of age, so, and you remember certain things, and there was a giant coat hanger, a big wooden coat hanger above on the wall, with all the posters and stuff, a real coat hanger, and it had Arnold on it.
Wow.
And it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He'd give it to him, because he used to train at Wag Bennett's as well down the road from there. It was a gym called Wag Bennett, and that's where Arnold used to train when he was in the UK back in I'm guessing the 60s, mid-60s.
Yeah, he went there very early on. That was when he was testing the waters to see how well he would do in competition before he came to the US. Yeah, he was in London.
So that's where he was. So he'd been to that Bill Stevens gym as well. So I always think of that. So as a kid, I always knew. I'm probably babbling on like I normally do, but we're talking about Arnold, and to me, it's very much like a lot of people never heard of Arnold till he did Terminator or whatever, But I knew him from a kid because of that, and then I used to buy the bodybuilding magazines as a kid,
right?
So I knew who he was, And when Conan, was it Conan, one of the first films he brought out, or a proper film he brought out?
Yeah, it was Conan. Was the first.
We all went up to the West End of London because Arnold's in a film. Schwarzenegger's in the film, and we couldn't believe it. We obviously, and we'd already seen Pumping Iron.
Right.
Back in the 70s.
That's
so
incredible.
yeah. I've always been a huge fan. I've always been a fan of Arnold.
Yeah, he's always great, and he's someone who's been able to shift his career and go from one thing to the next thing, and I mean, really a remarkable person.
Sure, actually, I can't remember. I was trying to think of this the other week because I'll have to do some research and where I'd found it before. Bruce actually mentions Arnold in something. He mentioned him, pointed him out. Oh, there's this young bodybuilder. He stands out amongst everyone else.
No kidding.
Yeah, but I can't remember it. And that definitely somewhere I'd seen it years ago.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't 100% say it's true, but I remember seeing it and I thought, whoa, that's... So he knew who Arnold was, which he would have done anyway. If he was into the weeder products and bodybuilding or weightlifting himself, he would have known who Arnold was.
Yeah, Arnold was Joe Weider's boy right there. I mean, he was... Yeah,
exactly. So he would have known who he was, so...
That's what my podcast co-host Dre and I, we've discussed a few times. The thing that we miss with Bruce Lee's untimely death was Bruce Lee in the 1980s. Can you imagine collaborations with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Can you imagine like all the things that he could have done in the 80s, like with action films and everything, and how things changed?
On a skateboard. On
a skateboard, of course. Inspiring kids to skate to this day. So, when is your Way of the Dragon book scheduled to come out?
Right, I'm going to do a guesstimate here. I'd say probably early next year, mid next year.
Yeah, it's always difficult. People ask me too. I'm also working on a book. When's it going to be ready? And it's like, it'll be ready when it's ready.
No, you know what tends to happen? Yeah, exactly. Because you know what tends to happen from past experiences? You get something planned, and let's face it, you can sit down and you can get a rough idea. You can do that section, or whatever else. Then suddenly you get in touch with someone that you didn't think you could get in touch with, who's got stories again, or some archive presents itself, and you think, shit, I've got to rewrite that section now because I've got more information on it. So
Right.
that's happened loads of times, that is, where, especially like with the Superstar and with me and Darren and Intercepting Fish, you do a section, pleased with it, and suddenly, bang, out of the blue, you'd get some information on someone or something had come up, and you think, well, okay, or a photograph would appear, and you'd find the clue in the photograph, and you think, shit, I've got to rewrite this, because if I don't rewrite it, I'm not doing the fans justice, really.
Sure. And for people who don't know, Darren is basically your connection over there who helps you get a lot of this information, right?
Yeah, we've done it together. Darren's very good. I mean, Darren's, he's very meticulous at what he does.
Yeah, I've chatted with him once or twice on Facebook, and it's it's a great feeling to just meet with someone who just knows so much about Bruce Lee and details, and it's really, really inspiring, his level of knowledge on the topic. You really
because
have
a lot of that we can't from the West. We can't see that. We can't see that. I mean, Darren, unlike a lot of Chinese now, can't even read Chinese, as you probably know.
Right.
Darren's more old school. He can read Chinese, so he's around about my age.
Very helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, so he can trawl through the archives and find, and he's very good. Where you and I would know Western celebrities, we might not necessarily know we wouldn't know all the Chinese celebrities and from Southeast Asia or whatever, but Darren would, so he'd recognise people in a photograph or less, blah, 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 and it's pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that I might find a few, and Darren finds the one that fits it together. So he's very good like that. And So, but so the Way of the Dragon book, I'm hoping by mid next year at the latest. But I'm still working on bits and pieces. We're doing actually at the moment. We're doing a Big Boss magazine.
A Big Boss magazine.
Yeah, and it wasn't going to at first because obviously we covered a lot of that, or virtually all of it in the Mandarin Superstar.
Yes.
But what we found is, it's strange because you do all these books, and the amount of Bruce Lee fans that don't even read them.
Oh yeah.
Don't even read them, And listen, I'm not knocking anyone. Some people just want to sit and look at photographs. It's great, but
sure.
I can't understand. Personally, if you buy a book, it's got words in it, read it, and
I want to put that on a shirt. You got a book that's got words in it. Read it, Steve Kerridge. Right up there with the Buddha. If it's got words in it, read it.
So and so we thought, you know what? Most of the information, you got the Arrow box set coming out soon, with the Mandarin Big Boss cut.
Yeah, so that's a new release. What are they releasing? All his films or one of them? What is that? Because I don't keep up too much up with that.
What they're doing, they're releasing all the films, apart from Enter the Dragon, they're releasing all the movies, the Golden Harvest ones, and what they've actually. I spoke to James Flower, who's the man from Arrow, and they went to Fortune Star, and like years ago, Brian White from Hong Kong Legends, who I know Brian, when they did the Hong Kong Legends remastered movies, one of the questions Brian asked them was, "Have you got the original Mandarin print?" And Brian told me this himself. They said to Brian, they said, "No, I don't think we have." He said, but he knew from the way they spoke that it couldn't be asked. They couldn't be asked, Because when I spoke to James Flower, I said, "Come on, give me the lowdown, give me a rundown on how did you find?" Because I see that I've seen it myself back in the late 70s.
You saw the Mandarin print?
Yeah, in the late 70s. Yeah.
Interesting. And, I've never seen the original Mandarin. I've just seen the cheaply dubbed, like they'll have like a Mandarin track now, but it's not the original one.
Yeah, no, I see that. I was lucky to see that back in the late 70s, and I think the last time it was actually screened was then. someone said there's a rumor that it was shown in Hong Kong or something in the early 80s, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, obviously, you had Star TV bought out Golden Harvest. Was it Star first, then Fortune Star, or whatever? I forget now, but there's a list of them that he went through. So, going back to the Big Boss, we thought, well, do you know what? People read this, but they don't read it. So they look at the book, they don't read the history of it. So this Arrow box set comes out, and suddenly I'm seeing all these posts on Facebook and what else. People asking questions. Oh, what happened there and what happened there? I think it's all in the bloody book. If you read the book, it's in there.
Yes. Right.
Like they're asking questions. All the deleted scenes are in. Everything's in there. We even did, as you've seen, we even did the filming schedule. You know what was filmed first, second, third, and so forth, all through the film. Obviously, it's not in the same order the film you watch it.
Right. Sure.
But the reason we found out that was because I've got all the contact sheets. You know, which will take them day by day.
Yes.
And, you know, you can see what's first, second. So, you know, 1 minute they're at the ice factory and they go somewhere and go back the next day to, you know, so you can see what's going on. And that was a right pain in the arse to do. That was a real pain in the arse. But I thought it'd be nice to put in the book. So we went into meticulous detail with that, really.
And then everyone is still asking about the saw in the head scene.
Yeah.
Right.
You know. So what we did, me and Darren had a chat about it, and we decided that, you know what, should we just do I'm going to do it really as a Bruce Lee fanzine special, really. It'd be a bit bigger than that, but
sure.
I can attach it to that as part of that series, if you like. Rather than do it as a book, I think just do it as a quite a thick magazine, good quality or high quality. Right. It's going to be good quality anyway, magazine. Right. And it'll just be that extract from the Big Boss, you know, that we haven't exactly extracted what's out of Man and Superstar and gone plonk in there. That's cheating.
Right.
That's like selling something twice, you know, that they've already bought. So we've actually put it together and we've gone into a bit more detail on certain aspects that we didn't necessarily do. And there's a couple of scenes that, once again, one's a saw scene that's still not in the Mandarin print, you know. Right. And so we've explained why that wasn't in the original Mandarin print, which we know, and the second brothel scene or bordello scene,
the one with his famous nude scene in it, right?
Yeah, but there's also another. There's a trimmed part of that as well. They didn't even show at the premiere. They took out before the premiere, and so we go into details of that and the people behind that and why they did and why they didn't and what else. So we analysing things a bit more. So I think it'll be interesting reading if anyone does read it, which they probably won't. They'll probably just look at the pictures. So
yeah, it's shocking because I think, you know, with Bruce Lee fans, there are levels. You know, there are obviously people like yourself who are really into getting all the information as accurately as possible, getting the behind the scenes stories. Who are these people? Why did this happen? What happened? And then there's people who just look at him and clap their hands and go, wow, kicking, punching. And their knowledge of Bruce Lee doesn't really go beyond that. And those seem to be the people who watch Beardy's videos on YouTube. I realized this lately because I did one or two videos kind of debunking some of the nonsense on that Beardy Bruce Lee channel, which is, for people who don't know, because legitimate Bruce Lee fans are probably listening to this. Most legitimate Bruce Lee fans do not watch the Beardy channel. It's usually although he has millions of people on there, it's like, I don't know who these people are that actually watch his channel. But he basically just makes up stuff about Bruce Lee. He'll post a photo and then say,
I can't watch.
Yes, like for that famous photo of Dan Inosanto in the karate gi, and then he said this was a karate master named Grandmaster Baxter who challenged Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee, it's like, and everyone knows that's Dan Inosanto. Well, about a year and a half ago, I did a video where I just basically called all of his viewers idiots. And the only people who watched that episode were my followers. Like, Beardy's followers don't consume anything Bruce Lee related besides Beardy. But now, in the last 3 weeks or so, it appears that Beardy's followers have finally found my material. And they're commenting. And they're really angry with me because... according to them, I'm jealous of Beardy's insider information about Bruce Lee, and And then you get these comments where people are reacting so emotionally in defense of someone who's like clearly as far as Bruce Lee goes, this guy's a complete fraud. He's making stuff up, just speaking off the cuff on photos and things. But if there's an entire group of people who like Bruce Lee, who are going to go to bat and defend Beardy, then it also makes sense that within the more legitimate fans, there are people who are into it but don't actually read about what happened. And I think if anyone who's a serious Bruce Lee fan who does not have your books is seriously missing out. I mean, I consider myself a Bruce Lee fan, and then then you sent me a couple of your books, and I was like, wow, there was so much I didn't know on, the behind the scenes, because your books don't just have great photographs, but the photographs themselves are worth the price of admission for the books, but the stories behind it, you get those firsthand eyewitness accounts of people who worked on the set, all the background stuff. It's layered so well. It explains things, gives dates and timelines. And, for any legit fan of Bruce Lee, I think, they definitely should get your stuff. And as the great Buddha, Steve Kerridge, said, read it. It's got words in it. Read it.
Yeah. There was one Bruce Lee fan. He's a great lad, you know what I mean? But he'd done a review for one of the books on YouTube or something, and he was commenting about Fist of Fury, about the hair swept back,
Yes.
And what wonderful, praising the book up. So I'm not knocking him. But then he says, I'm not sure why Bruce did this, and I thought, it's in the words below it.
It says it right there.
So that's probably one customer I've just lost. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's well, even on my perhaps my most famous or notorious video, which is about the Bob Baker Bruce Lee drug letters, the number of people who say this is totally fake, bro. And they go like, "Oh yeah, where's your evidence?" And or they claim somehow that I'm actually reading that, like I'm claiming that I'm reading the actual letters, even though in the video I talk about these were on an auction, they were available online. I'm reading it off of there. People they don't even forget reading. I think they don't even listen to the beginning of the video where I said, here are 50 letters that are at an auction. These were authenticated by the auction. Yeah, how do you know those are real, bro? The auction house verified them. I literally just it's like, it's crazy.
You're never going to win.
Yeah. That's the first lesson, I suppose.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I mean, the Bruce Lee scene is dying anyway. It's like, people getting older, younger generations coming along don't know. They might have heard of him, but they're not into it.
Right.
If you said who's James Deane, I bet a lot of youngsters would go,
no idea.
So I bet you as well. I bet there's enough youngsters now. If I went into my my gym and said to any of the youngsters in there, like, what do you think of Steve McQueen? They'd probably go,
Exactly.
So it's definitely, so it's good that, I mean, to me, let's be honest, let's be brutal here. There's so much shit on the market that comes out regularly, shit magazines and shit. There's so much crap on the market. Now, there's two ways of looking at that. And I tend to look at it more in a positive manner in a lot of ways, because I think, well, firstly, why do people waste their money on this crap? But secondly, the best way to look at it is a positive side and say, well, as long as there's Bruce Lee material coming out of some shape or form, it keeps the name there.
Yes.
So there may be crap, but at least it keeps the name there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Then, at least people are talking about it if there's still stuff coming out, and there's still the occasional podcast.
Yeah. But you can go in a shop that sells a lot of old soot, it's got a Bruce Lee, the handbag, Bruce Lee's photograph, or whatever, and you think, well, what's it got to do with Bruce Lee? Or a skateboard? Let's talk about skateboard.
So it's the damn skateboarders.
Skateboards. If you're in a skateboard shop and it had a Bruce Lee image on it.
Yeah.
Bruce Lee's image.
I have two of those skateboards, by the way.
Double skateboards.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I mean, Bruce, just like Bruce did the single nunchaku, then of course had to go for the double. Like you always gotta,
Double tables.
you always gotta step it up every time. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, you're right. I think there's besides a few dinosaurs like us really talking about it. There's still a little bit out there that means it's still. It's still somewhat alive, but yeah, I think you're right. The number of people who really have that deep interest in it's probably waning. I once kind of to talk about whether people knew Steve McQueen or and James Deane. I once a few years ago gave a Mr. T reference while I was teaching Wing Chun. I said something like punching the guy in the face and he reacts like Mr. T, and one of my students was like, who's Mr. T? And I was like, all right, forget it. I quit. I'm leaving.
That's a perfect example.
It's interesting. And then what year were you born? 2000. Oh, forget about it. My school is 2 years younger than you, all right? This is unbelievable, right?
It's crazy, isn't it? But that's progress or not or whatever, I don't know. But so I can understand, like when you go say the Bruce Lee estate, say Shannon, they may bring out stuff on Bruce's philosophy or whatever, and I can understand a lot of it because they're trying to make it more of a current thing. Yeah. Or a timeless. If you can bring it into different genres of thought or whatever, it'd be terrible to see the Bruce Lee memory gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he'll always kind of be somewhat of an icon because he's just the dude's so stylish. He's so timeless. But before I forget, by the way, because we have talked and extolled the virtues of your fantastic books. If someone wants to get a hold of your books, what's the best way for them to go about doing that?
You've got the website, which is bruceleeforever.com.
bruceleeforever.com. We'll make sure we put that in the description below. Maybe Andrew can put that in there.
There's stuff on it, but a lot of stuff, because most of the stuff we've done has been limited edition, so they do tend to sell out. And
right.
So that's the only drawback with that. But
so they're going to have to get it like from a collector who's going to charge them a whole bunch for it, right?
Well, that's the only problem with it,
Of course. Are you an instructor from the WT Wing Chun line and are confused about aspects of your Wing Chun training? Do you have questions about application, Guo Sao, Lat Sao, or how to train or teach Chi Sao? Do you need help with your curriculum or just guidance to push past your current skill level? Please consider coming to Florida and doing an immersion course with me. Immersion courses are 20 private lessons taught in 5 days in a very serious and intensive manner. These are done in my Florida home so you can stay there and focus on your training in the sunshine. Courses are individually crafted to your needs after we have a consultation. No politics, no nonsense, just serious training. Click the link in the description of this episode to find out more about immersion training with me in Florida. I'm currently filling up spots for March and April of 2023, so apply today to get one of those dates. Spots are limited because of my schedule, so book before the end of February 2023. Again, the link for immersion training in Florida is in the description below, and I'll see you in the sunshine. Yeah, you do it right. I should also make my books collector books, limited run, and then keep a bunch of them and then sell them as a third-party auction. People like, I still have the original print right here, and sell them for 4 times the amount.
I mean, to me, there's you can do. I mean, some of the stuff you can buy on Amazon now. I mean, I've got a few bits and pieces on Amazon, but that's basically they're done print on demand anyway. All this stuff you buy on Amazon, they're print on demand mostly. Yeah. Because they go through these people that do various Bruce Lee stuff or whatever. They go through certain companies that they upload their stuff and that gets sent to Amazon and everything else. So when they ever put limited edition on these things, they're talking out their backside because it ain't.
Right.
It's not. It's print on demand. That's what it's done. So
it's real limited.
Ours is genuinely limited edition.
Right,
so if it says 100, there's only 100.
Right. Yeah.
And
So now you're finishing the way, or you're still working on the Way of the Dragon book. Do you have? I know it's like the worst thing. You're doing a project and then ask you about other projects, but do you have? Are there any other Bruce Lee projects that you want to do in terms of books? Anything like that you still haven't done yet? I don't know. Is there an Enter the Dragon book in the future, or
possibly? I mean, as I say, we're doing this Big Boss special at the moment, which will be probably the next ones to be released. And then, as ideas and whatever else come in, the next fanzine. I think we're up to issue 5. Actually, is being released next week. I believe it is next week.
Awesome.
So I'll get a copy.
Yeah, I contributed an article in it was either the first one or second one of the early ones.
Yeah, I'll have to do some more, actually. I'd like to do some more if you could.
Sure. Yeah, I got a bunch of Bruce Lee stuff in my head.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of the things I was going to ask you anyway. So that'll be, next few months, I'll probably be looking at starting. I'm off to Thailand next month or so anyway, training. So I'm out there.
Nice. Yeah, I wanted to speak to you a little bit about your kickboxing. So obviously you go to Thailand. You train in kickboxing. Is there a specific gym that you go to when you're over there?
Several. Really. It depends. I mean, we travel. My wife's from Thailand originally, so we do travel a bit. I normally settle down in Koh Samui.
Nice.
We've done our family trips and Welsh,
Right.
And several gyms. There's one particular gym which is WMC in Samui. Give a shout out to them because they're good. We've got Super Pro, another good one there. There's several good gyms in Samui. But being an old fart now, I just go out and keep myself fit and punch a bag, But it's just good to be around it because when I'm teaching, to me, you never stop learning, So it's, and you may see someone do something slightly different. You think, that's a variation on a theme, but that's good.
Right. I also was going through my Facebook a few days ago, and a photo popped up of you with the notorious Andrew Tate. So had you trained him for kickboxing before, or were you like?
I didn't train Andrew. I know Andrew I know his trainer, Amir Sabasic, and one of my fighters, Reece Rowell, who's won a few world titles in the past. Andrew used to come down and spar with him.
Oh, okay.
So that's how we know. But I know his trainer quite well.
Right. Yeah, all like the notoriousness aside, I saw some highlight videos of Andrew Tate, but he was really quite good at kickboxing. Really.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, it was, he actually had his first fight on a promotion I put him with a friend of mine.
Wow.
And he had his first fight, and he fought one of my fighters actually, and knocked my fighter out. Bang.
Oh, geez.
First fight. So he's got, he's had a lot of. He's got some people just got that knockout, touch, and Andrew Tate's definitely one of them,
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Not to say it because we were on here, but I always found him a really good bloke and a good fella. To me.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's quite funny actually because about 2 months ago or so, there's as you said, a photo circulating.
I know. I saw on. It was. I think it was an older photo you had posted. Sometimes Facebook will periodically, repost an old photo, and there was a photo of you at some. It looked like at a kickboxing gym, and Andrew Tate was next to you, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, no, that was when he was down sparring one time, and one of my juniors came up to me, 8 or 9 years old. Steve, what? He's all like stuttering. And what's the matter? Like he said, I didn't know you knew Andrew Tate. You're famous. All right. Well, what's he talking about? So the little kid knew who it was. You think, probably if I asked him who Bruce Lee was, he wouldn't know.
Right. But he knows Andrew Tate. Everyone knows Andrew Tate.
He knows Andrew Tate. He knows the Kardashians, and he knows whoever else I don't know.
all the important ones. Yeah. I even heard Andrew Tate was potentially going to fight one of the Paul brothers. I don't know if it's Logan or Jake. I can't tell the two apart. Yeah, that's interesting. What do you think? Just I know this is very armchair kind of guessing because Andrew Tate hasn't been active in kickboxing recently. But given his record and his experience, if he were to go into a boxing match with someone like, is Jake the better of the two? I don't know. One of them is better than the other, I think, in boxing.
Do you know what it is? You've got to look at, if someone's got ring craft, if they've got ring craft, that within reason, of course, they've got ring craft, they can get in there. Andrew Tate's got a lot of experience. Jake Paul's not going to phase Andrew.
Right.
I'm not saying Andrew would phase Jake Paul, but I think the reason, let's face it, look, I'd get him and fight both of them on the same night if I was getting that sort of money, wouldn't you?
Yes, absolutely.
You know you're going to get your face rearranged. You think, well, okay, at least I can get a good plastic surgeon.
Yes, absolutely.
To me, I'd probably put my money on Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I think so
Because
too.
I'm not knocking Jake Paul. I quite admire him, to be honest with you. I quite admire
Yeah,
him.
take some stones to go in there and fight against these dudes and
Well, to
beat a
do what
bunch of
they've
these
done,
dudes.
come
Yeah.
out and to do that, I mean, there's two schools of thought with that, isn't there? I mean, you can look at some really, really good professional boxers that have, from a child, they've gone through the amateur ranks, won titles, and maybe even fought in the Olympics, and then turned professional, won world titles or whatever, and they're still not earning the same sort of money as Jake Paul comes along and fights. Who's the MMA fighter he's fighting? Nate Diaz, is it?
I think that's who he's got next. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so
You think
interesting.
really
yeah.
like you got to look through it. Nate Diaz, great fighter, obviously, like another great fighter. But where's Nate Diaz going to demand the sort of money he's probably getting for that?
Right.
Same as Tommy Fury. When Tommy Fury fought, Tommy Fury, obviously the brother of Tyson Fury, so they get higher profile than if he wasn't the brother of Tyson Fury, without a doubt.
Yeah,
That's not his fault. It's just life. But Tommy Fury's a good boxer. But at the end of the day, he's not a world class boxer. When I say that, I don't mean to knock him.
Right.
I'm just saying he's not like a Canelo type level, is it?
Sure. Sure.
And that's it's not knocking him, man. I'm trying to say that I admire him because Tommy Fury's gone out there and he's got good boxing skills. He's gone out there and he's done the business on Jake Paul and shut him up, really. Yeah. And himself in the throw, he's put himself 10 million or whatever. I don't know what it was, where he could never have demanded that sort of money if he would have fought for a British title against another professional boxer.
Yeah. Right.
So
you're absolutely correct.
You cannot blame these people. Boxing is a business, isn't a sport? It's a business.
Right.
Sport, it's a business above all, isn't it?
Professional. Do you like these kind of? Do you like these kind of fights where it's like an MMA guy fighting a boxer in the boxing ring, or do you feel that these guys are they should really more stay in their lane? I mean, even Conor had his fight with Mayweather, and like.
I don't think it means anything. Sorry, Tony. I don't think it means nothing because to me, I mean, it's like when Mayweather fought Conor McGregor. Sorry,
yes.
sorry, brothers. Trying to turn me sound off.
Although I kind of like Mick Connor. Could we call him Mick Connor from now on?
yeah, Mick Connor, yeah. But when those two fought, I didn't even bother watching it. To me, right. I mean, I love Conor McGregor. Yeah. Same with Mayweather. They're both great, but if it had been a case where McGregor says, right, okay, I'll fight Mayweather in the boxing ring, yeah, but the clause is you've got to return that by fighting me MMA in the cage.
Yes. Why don't they do that? Like you have one, or you do one fight in this format, one fight in this format, or one round in this format. I think.
So why? The reason why is because it's not about the fight; it's about the money. That's all it is.
Right.
All it is. They've gone out there, they've generated hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
But for Mayweather, it was a sparring match. He's just got paid $100 million to spar.
Yeah, and you kind of had that feeling when he was in there.
It's not knocking McGregor. McGregor's a great fighter, but he's not a boxer.
Yeah.
He's an MMA fighter.
Right.
So for him to go out there and do that, he's done well, but it's against one of the all-time greats,
Yeah. Do you ever watch One Championship? I think they have one.
I love it. I love that. Yeah,
they have the one where it's like one round of Muay Thai, one round of MMA, or something like that. Demetrius Johnson fought in one of those. Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. It would be interesting, to have like a round of boxing, a round of even just grappling without striking. Just do 1-1, 1-1.
I've done that with my fighters. I've had one of my fighters who won a couple of world titles. He fought an event. It was called KT MMA at the time. It was just kick Thai MMA. That's what they called it, for a friend of mine that put the promotions on. And it was the first round was K1, basically. K1. And the second round was MMA.
Wow.
But it was a bit of a nightmare for us in the corner because we had to literally change the gloves. He had 2 minutes to get his gloves off, get the MMA gloves on, take them up,
Oh, so you're going from boxing gloves to the MMA gloves and back and forth?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and we did that. He did that a couple of times. He actually fought on one of them. He lost to the fella, but his name was Cody Fisker. Who fought on the UFC, sorry.
All
It was
right.
quite a high level. It was quite a high level show. It was actually.
Wow.
And but he done well at that, you know, considering he hadn't really had much MMA background at all. My fighter, it was all kickboxing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we've also the one championships. To me, I think it's one of the best out there at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. They're really high level. I like the way they promote it. I like
Yeah.
the weight. I like the weight cutting policies that they have, trying to get fighters to fight more at their natural weight rather than.
It should be. I think that's a I'm the same. I'm the same with that. I mean, you know, I train fighters a lot, and to me, it's the same old problems, you know, meeting weight and whatever else, you know. Really,
Yeah.
it's dangerous. You know, they drain themselves of fluid, you know, and it's not. That's why you don't get that many fatalities or damage in heavyweights, really, as compared to because they haven't got to drain the weight, have they?
That's right. They're not losing all that water in the brain, among other places. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, and it's so dangerous.
Yeah.
So dangerous. And, but it's the same. I'm not being funny. You go to Thailand, and I've been going there for the last couple of decades or so. You see the fighters out there midday, and you know how hot it is in Thailand, and they're trying to meet weight, so they're running down the road in their full sweatsuit, you know. All right, they're used to the heat anyway, being Thai,
Right.
but
Sure.
you get a lot of Westerners doing it all, and they're just unrelenting with that, you know.
Yeah,
Meet the
absolutely.
Meet the weight, that's all it is, like, you know. So, but that's, you know, to me, you've had a few fights. Like, I mean, you've had, who was the one fought last weekend? Josh Taylor, the pro boxing. Josh Taylor with Lopez, wasn't it?
I didn't. Is it boxing? Yeah, I didn't follow. I think last
It
week was
it was at Madison Square Gardens, wasn't it? Last weekend.
Last weekend was a UFC, so that usually takes my attention. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm a big Charles Oliveira fan, and he had an awesome fight last week. But I don't follow boxing unless it's like a Triple G or a Canelo or So I only watch like the big fights. Like if it's a little smaller, it's usually off my radar.
Yeah. No, this was quite a big fight, but it was like Josh Taylor really was he's trying to keep his weight down, you know. So you can see as the fight progressed, not taking nothing away from Lopez, because Lopez is fantastic, you know. But
right.
You can see, he probably spent too much in the first few rounds, Josh Taylor, and the weight cut had started to catch up on him, you know. That's what happens.
Yeah. Sure. I once had a dinner with Sergey Kovalev, and that was really interesting. I was talking to him about all the weight cutting and the training and everything, and I think people really don't quite understand how intense the level of training is for people who are fighting at that level. Because I think he had just finished a fight when I saw him. This was before he fought Canelo, and he's like a good friend of one of my cousins who's like a big boxing nerd. And so it was just weird sitting there, and I think people don't appreciate, they know that these guys train hard, but I think between the diet, the preparation, the conditioning, the bag work, the sparring, I think people just don't quite understand how much goes into getting ready for one fight, and then have to deplete yourself like a maniac that basically the week of the fight, it's crazy. I really wish they all do it a little bit more like the one. Yeah.
A lot of the UFC fights, they do it with water, don't they? I've got it somewhere. I've got the actual plan somewhere that I was given by the person who gives it to them. They have like a water cut where I can't remember exactly, but it's something stupid, like the week before they're drinking like 4 to 6 litres a day or something, you know.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous, you know. Might as well put a hose pipe down their mouth. And there's those tools to fight. Then they don't drink nothing the last day, and they're just pissing.
Yeah.
They're pissing more than Chuck did up that tree when the dog was chasing him, you know. And,
maybe Chuck was cutting weight because he. There's also that famous story that Bruce wanted Chuck to look big and imposing for Way of the Dragon, so he told him to gain all this weight, and apparently Chuck just got kind of fat, which is why you see he doesn't really have any kind of definition, and apparently he was a little upset about that because he felt Bruce Lee kind of made him show up looking like an ox, where Bruce Lee's cut like a Greek statue.
Yeah, but don't forget, Chuck. Nothing cuts Chuck. Chuck cuts everything. It's getting the Chuck Norris jokes now.
Yeah, of course. His tears can cure cancer. The problem is he's never cried. Everyone knows some Chuck Norris jokes. How many push-ups can Chuck Norris do? All of them.
Well, apparently that dog that was grounded have never had puppies again.
See, these basically write themselves at some point, right? That is incredible. So are you currently, do you train, do you have your own, like, are you training fighters out of a gym? Do you have your own gym, or what is your, what is
I've
your
got my own gym. Got my own Essex Kickboxing Academy.
Essex Kickboxing Academy?
Yeah, and we train, I mean, we're going 30 plus years now, if not longer than that, saying that, you know.
Wow.
And,
wow, that's incredible. Congrats
on
that.
Yeah, we've trained countless champions over the years, and, you know, we've had loads of good I always say we've had loads and loads of good fighters over the years, you know. We've had some shitty ones and all, but we don't talk about that. So, we only talk about the good ones.
That reminds me, when I lived in Seattle a bunch of years back, there's a famous strip club somewhere in downtown Seattle. And on the side, it had a slogan. It said, 99 beautiful girls and 3 ugly ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, of course, if you're going to be training people en masse, of course you're going to have some people in there who obviously not everyone is cut out to be top high level. Yeah,
the majority of people just train for the enjoyment of self-defense or the general social aspect of it. You know,
yeah,
and it's great. You know, any sort of martial art, you know, as we know, is a great pastime, isn't it? You know,
absolutely.
It's not just about fighting, is it? Really, it's above that. You know?
Right.
Yeah, so I train myself every day. You know, well, this week I've trained. I've trained 7 times this week.
Wow, awesome.
Most weeks I train 7, but when I go to Thailand, I'm training 12 times a week.
Yeah, you got to represent when you're over there, right?
Which is a killer, you know, because you're up early, running up the mountain roads in the morning and doing the circuits. Right. And in the afternoon, you're in the Thai gym doing your bag work and your pad work and your everything. You know, and I'm 60 this year.
Wow. Congrats, man. You look great. Too old for this shit. No, you're still hanging in there. You're still looking good.
Enjoy it.
Before we get out of here, I don't know if we talked about this on our first interview, but I just wanted to ask you what your thoughts were about the supposed upcoming Bruce Lee biopic with directed by Ang Lee. I don't know if you know anything about that besides that he cast his own son as Bruce Lee, which seems a little suspicious, but like, yeah. Do you even know anything about this project? Because it was the big announcement and then now there's like nothing, right?
Not at all. I don't know anything about it at all. Yeah. I've not really bothered to look into it.
Right.
Someone said that it was based on Matthew Polly's book. I don't know how true that is.
I doubt that very highly. I think if the Lee estate is involved in that, I don't think they were big fans of Polly's book. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Someone said that to me, but I don't know how. But no, do you know what? I've not really got. I don't. It's like the Elvis film, isn't it? That came out recently. I mean,
yes.
I'm probably one of the only few people who said it's done look like Elvis. I could not look at that and look at it as Elvis. It was a great movie. It was It was made well. As an Elvis anorak, I suppose you look at it and go, well, that's slightly wrong. We can always pick holes in anything.
Yes, of course.
As a movie, it was great, but I just don't, you know. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because I think, well, unless Bruce Lee is so recognisable, I suppose, you know, to a Bruce Lee fan anyway, that you're going to have trouble trying to find someone that's going to look, you know. I mean, saying that with all this AI technology now and this computer-generated imagery, they could create what's it called now? Something face, isn't it? Well, have you seen the clip? There's a really, really funny clip on YouTube where they've took Sylvester Stallone's face and they've placed
with AI, yeah.
Yeah, and they've placed it on the Home Alone, on Macaulay Culkin's head.
Oh yeah, they've been doing that with Arnold Schwarzenegger. There's an entire account called Brian Monarch on Instagram, and he uses AI to put Arnold's face on. He did one with Sharon Stone from Basic Instinct, but with Arnold's face. and the famous scene where she kind of opens her legs, it was like a Terminator in there. It was great. It's like it's so great. Yeah, no, it's really.
What could they do with that? They could. I'm not talking about Sharon Stone's legs, by the way. What could they do with? I'm jumping in too quick. Hang on a minute. I'm jumping. Hang on. what they could do now with this technology, they could create Bruce Lee. They could create the voice. I mean, have you heard my son actually sent it to me. He said, have you ever heard Michael Jackson singing "Eye of the Tiger"?
Yeah, they can do that now with the voice. They could basically clone the voice if there's enough of a sample
it's
of
on
it.
YouTube.
It's incredible.
You look on YouTube. You can look.
Michael Jackson, "Eye of the Tiger."
Yeah, and it's Michael Jackson.
We're definitely checking that out. All right.
There's several. I mean, Freddie Mercury singing songs that they never sung. Obviously, it's all generated by this AI computer.
Wow, incredible.
So they can get Bruce's voice. They could. All right, you can't get the essence and the spirit and blah blah blah. But you could really do something, couldn't you? If you knew what he was doing, I mean, you knew the way. If you understood Bruce's philosophy and someone who's really in depth with that and the way his thought pattern were to a certain degree, you could really do something. I mean, I've always thought they could do that with a silent flute. They could get the silent flute and they could create that. I mean, saying that, Bruce in the silent flute wasn't Bruce as you see him anyway, was it? It wouldn't have been, would it? It would have been the Monkey Man. It would have been, so it would have been several characters.
Yeah.
You could still do it, couldn't you? You could still give it the Bruce Lee-esque look, and what a great way of doing it. But
yeah, absolutely.
But would it sell?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, are people really gonna buy it? Did you ever get into the Bruce Lee clone movies?
No, I mean,
I can't get into that either. There's a certain segment of Bruce Lee fans that are like equally crazy about those movies, and I'm like, I don't watch any. Even watching something like No Retreat, No Surrender, just because of his camp effect. Like, I'll watch it. Yeah. But it's like that's right on the border for me. Like I can't watch any of those Bruce Lee clones from who's gonna? I wouldn't want to watch Elvis movies with some guy named Elvis Presley and and it's like somebody who kind of looks like him and doesn't really sing like him, right? But
the only time I ever watched them was as a kid, really, growing up in the 70s, was because in the UK you couldn't go and see a Bruce Lee movie. You had to be 18. Right. So unless you sneaked into the back exit door, which we did a few times, but unless you did that, you couldn't legitimately sit and watch a Bruce Lee movie. So, these films that come out, The Legend of Bruce Lee, True Story, you go, wow, let's go and watch that, But I always knew in my head, I thought, it's like Jackie Chan, as great as Jackie Chan is, and all these different Hong Kong stars, as great as they are, I could never really get into it because to me, it was just Bruce Lee. I just couldn't get into it, but that's just me,
Yeah, and I was the same way. I couldn't get into Jackie Chan until I was later in my teen years when I realized, okay, he's doing something different. He's not trying to be Bruce Lee. Right. But when I was younger, the only time I would see a Jackie Chan title was like New Fist of Fury, where for me, like my introduction to Jackie Chan was that he was another one of those Lee clones. So it took a number of years before I realized like that he had gone out and done his own thing, and I would like look at that. Yeah, I get. Well, it actually makes me happy that you're that way because I sometimes feel like I'm in a minority of Bruce Lee fans. Like even I have Jeet Kune Do friends who are so into Jeet Kune Do and then also really into those Bruce Lee clone movies. And I'm like, I just don't get it.
I've always had this, and I've probably upset a few people when I've said it, but what is Jeet Kune Do? What is it? How can you, as Bruce Lee or whoever said, it's not a product, it's a process.
Right.
So, it's, when you hear someone go, oh, they're a Jeet Kune Do instructor, and you think, well, what do they mean by that? I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, what do they mean by that?
I totally hear you, man.
Listen, there are legitimate martial arts out there that teach the concepts of Jeet Kune Do that are good. I'm not knocking anyone.
Right.
But but there are certain people that we've all witnessed that that you think, really,
right?
They're teaching a martial art. They've got a big beer belly. They can't lift the leg above their waist. I'm not saying they've got to be Jean-Claude Van Damme when they're kicking, but these people they never train themselves.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, especially because he was all about the fitness. And then how can you represent Jeet Kune Do and be moving around like a Jeet Kune donut? It's like
exactly. That's good one. I like that. It's true, though, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the ones we do know, the main ones, they all train. They all teach their art and they train. And I'm not mentioning. I don't want to mention people's names because I don't want to upset anyone. But to me, and who am I to do it anyway? Who am I? All I'm trying to say is, to me, if you're teaching something, you should be able to at least perform that to a certain degree. I know as you get older, listen, I can't kick. I used to be able to kick straight up in the air, and I'm not as good a kicker as I used to be. But it's, you know, that I don't even put it down to getting older. That's probably just being lazy with my stretching. You know, to a certain degree. But you do get injuries, you do get scar tissue, you do get back. You know, I do a lot of running, so I tend to suffer on my back sometimes. So I can't. Right. You know, sometimes I'll get problems with that. You know, we all do. Listen, we're
it's age-related decline.
You know, yeah, of course, yeah. But at the same time, you know, you get a lot. It's the money trail again, isn't it? If you follow the money trail.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you must have that in Wing Chun as well. You must know people that, without naming people, that charlatans or whatever way you want to put it. You know,
most Wing Chun people, the class is just an hour of this.
Yeah,
and I don't really jibe with any of those guys too much. I'm also a bit of an outlier as far as that goes. I recently had Dr. James Bishop on the podcast, and he said something interesting. He said, Jeet Kune Do is the only style where you can buy an action figure of the founder. And I thought that was a really interesting way of looking. Yeah, you can't do that with any karate style or judo. I mean, maybe there's a bobblehead here of Masoyama somewhere, but a mass-produced action figure. No, I think that definitely sets Bruce Lee apart in that he's also a cultural icon. So that it
goes back to what we were talking about earlier, isn't it? The different Bruce Lee fans. You know, some are into the philosophy, some are into the movies. Some are into the
bobbleheads.
Purely. Yeah. You got Bruce Lee fans that, or followers that only are purists as far as the JKD side of things. You know. Right.
And, and I know Bruce Lee dudes like my friend Hector Martinez. He's like into collecting all this stuff. He doesn't do martial arts. No. And he like collects all the Bruce Lee stuff. And like for me, that's super cool, but it's also like, it's also weird. Like, I'm like, well, you know, why don't you also do some martial arts? Like, I mean, like you're into all this stuff, and like, you know, you don't want to actually do it. It's like, for me, the martial arts is the most exciting part about all of this, right?
You know, a lot of it is. I'm not saying Hector or anyone, but like people, they've got great collections, and that's what they do. And it's the same as someone following any sort of like Star Trek always gets a bad press, doesn't it? Really, but Trekkies. But it's the same thing that they follow that. You know, they're not necessarily flying away in space, but they're following that. You know, I think it's healthy. It's better than, I suppose, sitting on the corner smoking drugs or you know, or whatever. You know, but or drinking yourself to death. You know, it's a hobby. You know, it's interesting and. Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, to me, that side of things, I love also. I love the people that collect like Hector. That's great because the way they display things is, you know,
it's beautiful. Yeah,
you admire that. You know.
Yeah, bless his wife for letting him put all that stuff in his house.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Then you get the martial artists that you got to admire because you think, well, they're not so much ones that try and copy Bruce Lee because you can't. You know, I think when you see him trying to copy Bruce Lee and move like Bruce Lee, you think that goes against totally goes against the principles of Jeet Kune Do anyway.
Absolutely.
You know, yourself, you know, like you can't be Bruce Lee. There's only one Alex. There's only one Steve. There's only one Bruce Lee. You know, you got to be that person.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but yeah, obviously you got those out there that are like that, but you've got a lot of them that ain't. They're good martial artists that get influenced by the philosophy or the mindset of Bruce Lee, you know. And I think I might have said before, but the way when I teach, I always say, funny enough, I was teaching this morning, I was saying, you know, I had 2 students and they was doing combinations on the bag. And I said, look, it's a bit like, and they're trying to say, well, you see them looking at each other, well, he's doing it more. I said, let me stop you there. I said, listen, I said, if I gave you the 26 letters of the alphabet and give you 26 letters of the alphabet and said, right, go over there and write a sentence and come back, what's the chances of having the same sentence?
Right.
But it's the same letters. It's the same. They work from the same work board or whatever you want to call it. You know. So you've got to look at it like that. Or if I signed your signature, it's the same letters. It's your name, but it's not your signature.
Right.
So you've got to learn the basics. Which Bruce Lee. That's why they say they get confused and say, well, how comes he had a Wing Chun background and he had this back? He had the basics there. Now it's what you do with that basis, how you put your signature on that, isn't it? What suits you.
Absolutely.
So, which comes into the whole It's not a product, it's a process. So you're using that process of Jeet Kune Do, the Jeet Kune Do process, to develop your art. So it really, in an ideal world, you could have 10 Jeet Kune Do practitioners, and it'd all be completely different.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with you
If
there.
you've got 10, say Wing Chun or 10 karate or 10 kickboxing, they're all majorly the same on the outset.
They'll be a lot more similar. Yeah.
But you can also put that JKD principle into Wing Chun or into kickboxing by making that individual person you're teaching develop what he's good at.
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? You talk about it for years, but
right.
So that's where I think that going back to the Bruce Lee fans, you've got the collectors and you've got the martial artists. I think there's a lot of good martial artists out there that due to the influence of Bruce Lee.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, hey, Steve, this was amazing. It was so great to catch up with you again. We had been talking about this for a while. Yeah, it was cool to see you. I'm eagerly awaiting. By the way, what is the title of your upcoming book?
What, the Way of the Dragon book?
Yes.
Right.
Or is that a secret?
Bruce Lee Dragon.
Bruce Lee Dragon. Awesome. Love it. Love it.
You know what, right? That's the name we've settled on at the moment because we went through loads of different names. I mean, originally I had Legends of the Dragon and whatever.
Right.
You know. But we think, what is the, how can you name it? The dragon, the whole dragon thing was really, it was originally called Enter the Dragon, wasn't it, as we know?
Yes.
And then that was put aside, and then it was changed to Way of the Dragon.
Right. Although the Chinese title was the same. It was only the English title. So
true.
He wanted Enter the Dragon, but the Chinese title was always Mang Long Guo Gong, which is very different. It's basically the fierce dragon crosses the sea, right? Which is a great title. It doesn't roll off the tongue the way it does in Chinese, but it's a cool title because that saying, that Chinese saying about Mang Long, the fierce dragon, is because Chinese never want to leave China. So if they leave China, they say only the Mang Long, only the fierce dragon dares to leave China. So that's why he was the Mang Long that crossed the sea. He's the fierce Chinese tiger who dared to leave China, right? So, it's a very, very cool sentiment. It's just not easily translated into English. Awesome. Well, it was great seeing you. Looking forward to this coming out. How long you're going to be in Thailand for how long? Like a month or?
A month.
Okay, I'm going to be in Hong Kong in August. I was thinking like, wow, I'm doing a tour, a 2-week tour. I have all sorts of people coming from all over, and I'm going to show them all around Hong Kong. And I've always been looking for some excuse to go to Thailand. I've not been to Thailand. I've been to Bali, but I've not been to Thailand. So I just
if you ever want to go, and you want to go and we're there, we can train them. Yeah.
I would love to train in Thailand. How awesome would that be? Yeah.
You're more welcome to be with us to do that.
Awesome. Definitely. I'll definitely hit you up when that comes time. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Well, thank you so much. It was great seeing you. Take care. Have a good one. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of the Kung Fu Genius. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the Kung Fu Genius, hit that bell for notifications, and if you have any questions you want me to answer on a future episode of the Kung Fu Genius, go ahead and write those in the comments below. Or if you want me to interview someone else, like I did with Steve Kerridge this time, let me know. Who do you want me to interview? Put that in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
Word is I'm a kung fu genius. Technique speaks for me, not lineage. Forget Jet Li, cause I'm the one. Many call me seafood, but to you I'm sea kung. And I produce masters. You surpassed us. Your kung fu stiffer than corpse and caskets. City Wing Chun is the house I built. Violate the gate and your blood gets spilt. Alex Richter, always the victor.
It's okay, you can tell Andrew I made him work. I'm fine with that. I can be the villain in this piece.
Okay, you're definitely the villain here. Oh, damn it! We didn't get you to say twat. He's so disappointed.
Lots of gems, a little bit of Andrew Tate, and lots of in the great. Ah, fuck. Twat. Shit me in the twat. On today's episode. All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be talking with Steve Kerridge. Fuck. I'm having a Dre moment. Twat. Lots of gems, a little bit of Andrew Tate, And in the wise words of... Wides? What the fuck?
The Queen's English.
Fuck off. All right. Twat. All right. And in the wise words of the Buddha... Did I just say wides again? What the fuck? Jesus fucking Christ. All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the Genius will be talking with Steve... Yeah, just loving them buttons, aren't you? Loving it.